Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment, quiet, often unseen, when we make a sacred vow to ourselves. A vision flashes across the mind of who we want to become, what we want to build, how we want to live. Maybe it happened in a moment of pain. Maybe it was born out of hunger, ambition, or a quiet whisper that said, "You were made for more." And yet, life has a way of distracting us. The world tells us to settle, to compromise, to wait. It offers comfort over courage and distraction over discipline. But I'm here to remind you today, don't forget the life you promised to yourself. That promise matters. It is not a fantasy. It is a contract with your future. Everything that is real in this world was first imagined. Every bridge, every city, every invention, every fortune, every triumph, it all began in someone's mind as nothing more than an idea. But not just any idea, a charged idea. One infused with energy, with meaning, with raw emotion. That is how transformation begins, not with logic, but with a burning inner desire so strong that it refuses to be ignored. If you want to change your life, if you want to rise beyond where you are, then your vision cannot be casual. It cannot be vague or lukewarm. It must become obsession. The kind of obsession that wakes you up in the middle of the night and won't let you go back to sleep. The kind of vision that flashes behind your eyes even when you're doing other things, because your soul won't let you forget it. It's not enough to say, "I'd like to be wealthy," or "I want to be successful," or "one day I'll have that life." That's wishful thinking, and wishful thinking doesn't build anything. But when you feel that desire deep in your bones, when you connect your goals to your pain, your past, your future, your pride, your purpose, that's when it catches fire. That's when it becomes real. You must see it so clearly that you can describe it down to the smallest detail. Where are you living? How does it feel to wake up in that home? What do you smell? What kind of clothes are in your closet? What kind of conversations are you having? What does your bank account look like? Who is around you? And who is not? The more vivid it becomes, the more your brain begins to accept it not as fantasy, but as instruction. The subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's deeply imagined with emotion. It simply acts on the dominant idea you feed it, and emotion is the fuel. Cold thoughts are easy to forget, but when you attach your vision to feeling, to joy, to hunger, to rage, to redemption, it becomes unforgettable. So don't just think about the life you want. Feel it, cry for it, smile for it, act for it. Let it pull something primal out of you. When you do that, you're no longer merely dreaming. You're beginning the process of creating. That is the starting point of every great achievement, not just an idea, but a burning one. Never let that flame go out. You cannot go where you cannot see, and you will not go far if you don't believe the destination is real. That's why clarity and faith are the two most powerful forces you can align within yourself. One without the other is never enough. Clarity gives you the map, faith gives you the fuel. Together, they create momentum, the kind of momentum that tears through obstacles and shrugs off doubt. Clarity begins with decision. You must decide exactly what you want, not vaguely, not in general terms, but specifically. The universe doesn't respond to confusion, it responds to direction. "I want to be rich" means nothing. "I will earn $10 million in the next 10 years by building a business that solves this problem." Now that's a command. You must describe your outcome like you're already living in it. Uncertainty leads to hesitation, and hesitation kills momentum before it even starts. But clarity alone won't move you unless it's fused with belief. And belief, real, unshakable faith, isn't something you wait to feel. It's something you choose. You decide that you are the one, that the vision you hold is already yours, already unfolding. You carry yourself as if it were done, even when nothing around you reflects it yet. Faith is the power that lets you walk into the unknown and say, "Still, I will build." It's the force that pushes you to keep going after the 10th rejection, the 100th failure, the 1000th lonely day. Faith is the invisible armor that lets you stand in front of impossibility and refuse to bow. It doesn't mean you won't feel fear. It means you won't be ruled by it. And here's what happens when you combine them. Once your mind is locked onto a clear target and your spirit is anchored by faith, you begin to move differently. You speak with certainty. You act with conviction. People notice. Opportunities appear. Ideas click. Not because luck is on your side, but because your energy is focused like a laser, and belief makes you persistent enough to find your way no matter what. Most people never achieve their dreams, not because they're lazy, but because they're unclear. Or worse, they're clear, but they don't believe. You must have both. Clarity without faith leads to frustration. Faith without clarity leads to wandering. But together, they create a force that nothing can stand against. Momentum doesn't come from hype. It comes from alignment. Know exactly what you want. Know exactly why you must have it. Know deep in your bones that it will be yours, not maybe, not someday, but inevitably. And when your mind and heart are aligned with that truth, your feet will not stop. Your hands will not tire. You will become a force that cannot be slowed. And that, right there, is how the life you promised to yourself begins to take form. You can have the clearest vision, the deepest faith, and a heart full of fire. But if you place yourself in the wrong environment, that fire will slowly die out, not in an instant, not with a dramatic collapse. But little by little, almost without notice, your light dims. Your certainty fades. Your vision begins to feel distant, like a dream that belonged to someone else. That is the quiet cost of surrounding yourself with people who don't see what you see. You must protect your vision with your life, because no one else will do it for you. The people around you are either building your future or breaking it down one word at a time. Every conversation is a seed. Every interaction either waters your belief or poisons it. There are no neutral influences. You are always becoming more like the people you consistently allow into your world. The truth is, some people benefit from your doubt. They are more comfortable when you play small, because your growth reminds them of their stagnation. Your ambition threatens their excuses, and they will cloak their discouragement as love. They'll say, "I just don't want you to get hurt," or "maybe be more realistic," or "don't get your hopes up." But what they really mean is, "Don't outgrow me." You must learn to recognize those voices for what they are, distractions in disguise. And then you must choose differently. Seek out the people who remind you who you said you would be. People who won't let you forget what you're building. People who see the version of you that hasn't even arrived yet. And speak to that person. You need people who don't flinch when you talk about big goals. People who talk about legacy, not just survival. People who challenge you, not just comfort you. That kind of environment isn't just helpful. It's necessary. Because no matter how strong you are, there will be days when you forget how far you've come. Days when your old doubts whisper louder than your new truths. In those moments, the right people will look you in the eye and say, "Keep going. You didn't come this far to quit. You promised yourself more, now act like it." And sometimes it's not even about what they say. It's how they live. When you're around people who are doing what you want to do, building, rising, creating, becoming, something shifts inside you. It raises your standard. It lifts your energy. It forces you to stop making excuses. You begin to understand what's possible because you're seeing it up close. But let me be clear, this might mean letting go of people you've known for years. It might mean standing alone for a while. It might mean silence where there used to be noise. But temporary isolation is far better than permanent limitation. Surround yourself with energy that demands your growth. Align yourself with people who mirror your future, not your past. Because when you walk with giants, you stop apologizing for thinking big. You stop explaining your hunger. You stop second-guessing your fire. You remember who you are and who you're still becoming. That is the power of the right people. You will never think your way into the life you want. You will never overanalyze your way into success. Dreams are not built in your head. They are built in motion. What separates those who rise from those who stay stuck isn't talent or knowledge or even resources. It's the willingness to act, especially when the action is messy, uncertain, and far from perfect. Perfection is a lie. It's a trap disguised as a standard. It whispers, "Wait until it's ready," or "You need to learn a little more," or "Just give it one more day." But that day never comes. The perfect moment doesn't exist. The person who waits for it dies with their potential still locked inside of them. Action is the cure for fear. The moment you take a step, no matter how small, no matter how clumsy, you change the energy around you. You shift your state. You stop being a thinker and start becoming a creator. And that shift is everything. The longer you sit still, the heavier the vision feels. But when you move, the weight begins to lift. The fog begins to clear. You won't always know what the right move is. That's fine. You don't need a 10-year plan. You need a next step. Take it, learn, adjust. Take another. Movement creates clarity. Movement builds confidence. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes from action. Those who wait to feel confident before they move are waiting forever. Most people are addicted to preparation. They read, plan, consume, rehearse. But none of that matters without execution. You don't get rewarded for what you intend to do. You don't get paid for how many hours you've researched. You don't become the person you promised yourself you'd be by dreaming about it. You become them by doing. And yes, you'll make mistakes. You'll fall. You'll feel exposed. But mistakes are part of the journey, not proof you're failing. You are meant to look foolish at first. You are meant to be rejected. You are meant to get it wrong on the way to getting it right. That's not failure. That's tuition. That's how you earn the life you want, by being brave enough to take relentless, imperfect steps every single day. Winners don't wait for certainty. They build it one action at a time. They keep swinging. Keep showing up. Keep producing, testing, adjusting, refining, while others are still stuck thinking about starting. And because of that, they build momentum. And once momentum is on your side, you become dangerous, unstoppable. You go from crawling to running while others are still planning their first move. So ask yourself this: what can you do today? Not tomorrow, not next week. That moves you forward. Do it. Even if it's ugly, even if no one claps, even if it scares you, especially if it scares you. Because the version of you who has the life you promised to yourself, they didn't get there by being careful. They got there by moving, even when it was uncomfortable, even when it didn't look perfect. Start now. Move now. Fix it as you go. That's how winners are made. There comes a moment in every transformation when the old version of you tries to make a comeback. It won't be loud. It won't knock on the door and announce itself. It will creep in through comfort, through excuses, through thoughts that sound reasonable but are built on fear. It says things like, "Take a break, you've earned it," or "This is too much, maybe you're not ready," or the most dangerous of all, "What if this just isn't meant for you?" That voice, that soft, convincing whisper, is your old self trying to pull you back into the life you said you didn't want anymore. And you cannot negotiate with it. You cannot reason with it. Because every time you entertain it, you lose momentum. And when you lose momentum, you start slipping. One skipped workout, one harmless delay. One day of silence on your dream. That's how it starts. And soon, the fire that once burned in you becomes a flicker. Not gone, but gasping. You see, the old you was built for survival. It learned how to live within limits. It became a master of comfort, of getting by, of settling. But the life you promised to yourself, the extraordinary life, demands a new version of you, a disciplined you, a decisive you, a non-negotiable you. Every day you wake up with a choice to live from your past or live from your future. The old self wants familiarity. The future self wants freedom. You cannot serve both. You must declare which identity is in control, and back that declaration with action. When you decided to change, to rise, to become more, that was not a casual decision. That was a line in the sand. And when things get hard, not if, but when, That's when your old self will step forward, pretending to protect you. But its only mission is to keep you exactly where you've always been. Safe, small, predictable, but also unfulfilled. So you have to be ruthless. You have to recognize the pattern and cut it off immediately. Don't give it 5 minutes of thought. Don't take a day to think. Decide now that version of you is dead. That version of you doesn't get a vote anymore. You buried that person the day you made a promise to yourself. You must act from your future identity, even before you feel like you've earned it. Speak like that person. Move like that person. Choose like that person. Hold the line, even when it's inconvenient, especially then, because that's when new roots grow deep. This is what separates the average from the exceptional. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not even resources. It's the ability to silence the inner voice that says, go back. The discipline to keep showing up for your future, even when your past is screaming for attention. Your new life will cost you your old one. That is the price. You don't get to keep your old habits, your old beliefs, your old story, and still step into greatness. You must choose. You must close the door behind you, lock it, and throw away the key. And when that old version knocks again, and it will, don't answer. You've moved on. The life you promised to yourself depends on it. My friends, this life, this one precious life, is yours to shape, not your past, not your critics, not your circumstances. So let me ask you right now, what life did you promise to yourself? Hold that vision tight. Breathe life into it daily. Let your commitment to it be louder than your fears. Because the people who live the lives they once dreamed of are not the lucky. They are the decided. Now go and become who you said you would be.